listening to Cinemajaw, the greatest movies podcast ever, recorded on location from Cinemajaw Studios in Chicago. My name is Matt Kay, and with me is
Rye, the movie guy. And again, joining us via Zoom is KP.
Hello, this has been the longest cold ever for you guys.
I'm going to bring you some chicken soup, KP.
I'm vegan.
Oh, crap.
That's what the whole problem is.
Maybe, yeah.
That's what the whole problem is.
No,
Minestrone
that's not
don't
true.
do it right.
I'll bring you some nice tea.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. I currently have a glass of rooibos, so.
All right. Keep drinking.
Hopefully, KP gets better soon.
Yeah.
It's springtime. It's April, Matt K.
Maybe she's just getting it out of the way. You know, allergies, Rye. Allergies.
I sure hope so.
Me too.
Yes. We got two big reviews for you this week. As promised, 40-year anniversary
Oh, wow.
retro review of The Last Starfighter.
Boy, do I feel old.
We are going to geek out over that one. And also, you got out and saw Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire.
Right.
Is that how we're saying it? Is the X in there? Or?
Yeah, so confusing, right? Because it's not Godzilla versus Kong. It's Godzilla times Kong, which
Are you guys
equals
familiar?
the New Empire.
Are you guys
going.
familiar with slash fiction?
Yeah, unfortunately, yes. Ryan has no idea what you're talking about.
I thought it was like Godzilla slash Kong. I thought it was like slash. It literally is like the slash fiction equivalent of. For those who don't know, slash fiction was like early to mid-aughts internet lingo for fan fiction where people would ship two main characters together.
Right.
Ah.
I think it's slash.
So that makes sense
Right.
then.
Ever wonder what would happen if Ron and Harry hooked up in Harry Potter?
No, but okay. I see what you're saying.
Okay.
Very interesting. I wish someone would have explained that to me before we started the podcast, but I guess that's good for other people. I'm sure there are people out there that have seen the poster that don't know what it is also. So I'm
Right.
glad we actually talked about it.
Probably guessing that most people don't think that King Kong and Godzilla are going to bone in this movie.
Right.
Yeah. That would be weird. That
Yes.
is not this movie.
I
Damn.
Yeah, maybe unfortunately for some.
have
Add
not
two more X's. Damn.
I have not seen the new Godzilla. You
Oh,
caught
wow.
it before me, so
This is-
only Matt's take on this one. So you got to
Bring my A game?
Yeah, bring your A game for the Monsterverse.
Yeah.
and I think we should also maybe rank where we put the Monsterverse. Let's rank those movies as well today.
Okay.
How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Yes. Plus, it's April, and man, we had a blast with Dan Aykroyd, didn't we?
We did. One of my favorites.
That was a great month.
Up there with Nicolas Cage in my book.
Yes, it was a total blast. A lot of fun. We had 6 sound bites with Dan Aykroyd. We move into April, and we don't have that many sound bites for our new theme that we will be celebrating. However, we are both very fond of this actress. Has a new movie coming out entitled Civil War, which is directed by Alex Garland. We, here on Cinemajaw, are celebrating Kirsten Dunst.
You are amazing.
That clip was from Spider-Man 2002.
Holy mackerel.
We talk about feeling old. 2002, 22 years old, the original Spider-Man is.
God.
It's like, are you kidding me?
It's already been drinking for a year.
It's crazy. I mean, that had, and like at the time, now we can say it's absolute iconic kiss, the upside down kiss.
It was instantly iconic.
It really was. It was instantly iconic. But like now that it's 22 years old, like I was reading about it today because of getting facts ready and, getting the soundbite ready for Kirsten Dunst month. And, I happened to like stumble across some articles and people talking about like Tobey Maguire couldn't breathe because he was upside down and the water was going in his nose and so on and so forth. And so we're looking at this like special romantic moment and it's nothing but, that's happening on the set. And they're talking about, did you know it was going to be, so iconic, maybe one of the greatest kisses in movie history? And like, it's weird because now we're talking about it being 22 years old. It has this weight of, the history of Spider-Man behind it now. It has even more like legend and lore going for it.
It does.
And it is definitely a special moment in cinema.
Rewatched it today as I was pulling out this clip, and it holds up. it still holds up. It's a great scene all around.
It really is. And Kirsten Dunst, we're celebrating her this month. I mean, she really does make the scene. She's just, I love the way she like giggles when she sees Spider-Man. Everything about that scene, the rain, the way Tobey Maguire is like posed in the perfect Spider-Man pose on the web coming down. It all just worked. It's one of those kind of like magical moments where everything lined up perfect.
Yeah. Wow. Surprised to hear you talk about a superhero movie that way, Ryan.
This was before I even felt one way, or the other on superhero movies. It was very early on. I mean, when does Iron Man come out?
2008.
So that's 2008. So we're talking 6 years before is Spider-Man. I remember being stoked for Spider-Man.
Hell yeah.
Like most everybody was. Saw it in the theater and I was just absolutely blown away. Like, holy crap.
Then Spider-Man 2 came out, knocked us up, for a loop.
Oh, you're not kidding.
And then Spider-Man 3 came out.
I was like, enough Spider-Man.
Yeah, that was a piece of junk.
So we are going to be celebrating Kirsten Dunst, who has quite the career going for her.
She's done more than just Spider-Man.
Oh, absolutely. And we'll be talking about that all month long. Let's kick it off with a Kirsten Dunst fact. What do we got, KP?
Yes, and we're actually starting off with like what I would argue is outside of that Spider-Man series, her most iconic Interview with the Vampire, where she starred alongside Tom Cruise. Ever since that film came out in 1994, Tom Cruise has personally sent Kirsten Dunst a coconut cake with white chocolate chips every year at Christmas, and it has now become known as the Cruise cake amongst the Dunst family.
What a weirdo Tom Cruise
I don't know if
is.
that's sweet or creepy.
I think creepy.
Probably creepy.
I totally think that's creepy.
I just love to imagine it's like, right, there's that iconic trope, like she digs a nail file out of it or something.
Yeah.
All the stuff to break out of prison with.
One more time with exactly what kind of cake it was.
A coconut cake with white chocolate chips.
And that's awfully specific.
It really is.
And kind of gross at the same time. That doesn't sound good.
I think it sounds terrible.
I think it sounds okay. It sounds very like almost wedding-y, like the whiteness of it.
Right.
Is overwhelming. If you're going to send someone an over-the-top kind of too much cake at that time, you should just send a fruit cake, right?
I guess. Yeah. I don't want any kind of cakes from Tom Cruise.
No.
Love the guy's acting. Not going to eat your cake.
I was watching clips from that movie earlier.
Great one.
Great one, because I was looking for sound bites in that movie.
Oscar-nominated performance from her.
Oh, throw that in the fish tank. I think you're wrong, but I think maybe Golden Globe, but not Oscar. Could be Oscar, though. Was Kirsten Dunst nominated for
I think she was.
Interview with a Vampire? I'm not positive, but unbelievable child performance for sure.
Launched a career.
Yeah, and I mean, she's opposite two heavyweights with Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt, and she really holds her own as, you know. And how old was she also in Interview with a Vampire, if you can pull that up? But I'd put her at like 12 years old. Maybe is that a little too young? Yeah,
oh, no.
Right
if anything,
there.
I would say she was
10?
younger. Yeah, maybe like 10.
It's pretty.
For how
pretty
old
special.
she was, the intensity that she brought to that role was off the charts.
It really was.
For someone who's never had a life experience, she just brought this ferocity. It was great. I mean, if she didn't get nominated, she deserved it.
I was watching the scene today where she cuts her hair, and it's awesome. I was like, man, I gotta go back and watch this entire movie. I forget how much I like Interview with the Vampire.
It's a good one. It's a really good one.
I didn't mention what trivia we're going to play this week, and how odd. Last week, I don't know if you can even remember last week, we reviewed Frozen Empire. And now this week, we're reviewing a movie called The New Empire. So I thought, why not play Empire movie trivia?
I like it.
Right?
Yeah.
So think of movies with Empire in the title.
Could think of a couple.
One of them might strike your back. You know what I mean? But think of movies with Empire. And
okay, son.
I don't know if you want to double down right now. You
Ooh,
lost
I did
$5
lose.
last week. And now we're playing Empire movie trivia. I wanted at the top of the show to say this. Hey, if you want, I will put the invisible $5 back out onto the table here.
Well, there it is.
And you can
Double or nothing?
You can win $10 this week. I will match the $5.
You'll match it.
Yes.
So if I win, I get my $5 back and your $5.
Yes.
And if I lose, I have to pay you $10.
Yes. And this is for real. I know we're joking about the invisible, but I want my $10 once you lose.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you want to go in on this?
One question. Is it tricky Empire trivia like you did to me last week?
Okay. Last week was tricky with I'm going to look at my questions again. I'm going to be honest here.
Well, I mean, did you call it tricky Empire movie trivia?
But Empire movie trivia was a little bit harder to write than you think. No, it is not tricky. I think you should be able to get it. My guess is you should be able to get it.
Fine. Double or nothing.
All right. You're on. This is big.
It's not double or nothing. It's double or half my money back.
This is exciting.
Yeah.
Now we got some skin in the game.
I like it.
March Madness is going on. It's fun. You got to be betting around this time of year.
Hey, every time of year.
So good stuff. We got a jam-packed jaw. Let's get going with a big movie review. Godzilla. Kong. Let's go, man.
All right, Ryan. After the surprise success of the Oscar-winning Godzilla -1, all eyes turned back to the generally well-received American Monsterverse for Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire. But can these two titans carry another blockbuster, or is it Monkey B.O. versus Lizard Breath? That's what I'm going with. We bought a popcorn, unplugged our brains, and headed into Hollow Earth to find out.
For centuries, there was harmony. The Titans were the guardians of nature, and the great apes became the protectors of humanity.
Oh, did you want to hear the plot? Okay. Godzilla and the almighty Kong face a colossal threat hidden deep within the planet, challenging their very existence and the survival of the human race. Yeah, it's two big famous monsters fighting each other and then a bunch of other monsters. And I rewrote it better. There you go. Let's not mince words. The Jawheads are far too intelligent for that. This is a big, dumb monster movie that's probably best not to think too hard about. Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire is a satisfying showdown between the two cinematic legends, but amidst the dazzling visual effects, there are some moments where the narrative feels predictable, Ryan, which in itself was predictable. While the human characters serve their purpose to drive what little plot there is forward, I think that most people will find their arcs lacking in depth compared to the towering titans they share the screen with. But hey, they are fun archetypical cardboard cutouts. I really dug the throwbacks to the old Toho lore, especially the Mothra stuff, which always fascinated me as a kid. I thought they did that exceptionally well here. And when the monsters are on screen, they have a weight and a sense of presence that I have to admit beats the rubber suit predecessors and the early attempts at CGI. Unlike -1, I could not have cared less about the human aspect of this story, preferring the monsters to the people. But the good news is that the monsters get such a decent arc, and nowadays the animation is so good, you actually see them act. I wonder if we even need humans in a monster movie at all anymore.
Interesting.
Take that, SAG. The cinematic universe of the monsters is probably nearing the bottom of the tank, but this movie wasn't it. There will be more, mark my words. To sum it up, this is no -1, but Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire doesn't reinvent the wheel, but it's a fun ride nonetheless. I think fans of the monster genre will be satisfied. Casual moviegoers will like this. So grab your popcorn, suspend your disbelief, and witness a clash of the titans for the modern era.
Wow. So a couple of questions on this. One, I see in the trailer that there is a baby Kong.
Yes.
Is it the, what were the little Star Wars creatures?
Porgs?
Porgs. Is it just Porg? It's just for fun? Or does that character actually play a role in this movie?
That character actually plays a role in the movie. Not totally annoying. The character has an arc, and you feel for the character. It has human-like motivations and setbacks and et cetera, et cetera. It's a pretty good character.
Nice. As far as the human cast.
Yeah.
A lot of people are in these movies.
Yeah.
So is Millie Bobby Brown back in these movies?
No,
okay, she's not in it.
Yeah, she's
I
not.
was confused if she was going to be in
Me
this
too.
movie
She's
or
on
not.
She's on the cast page on Google, and I was like thinking, like, did I miss something? No, I can't even remember like a flashback or anything like that. Maybe you
Interesting.
hear her scream or something. I don't know.
Yeah, but
No,
obviously,
Millie Bobby Brown. No.
okay. But Rebecca Hall is
Yes.
still in there, and the other one I was worrying about is wondering about is Brian Tyree Henry.
Great. He's the
He's
comedic
back.
relief.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the podcaster, the conspiracy theorist. He's fun. Like I like him. I liked his character in the last movie. He's just as good here. You know, this is really easy stuff.
Right.
Nothing challenging.
My other question was last week when we got done recording, we were talking, and I mentioned that I feel that these movies nowadays go out of their way to give you that big poster moment where
Yeah.
they're all posing. And in the trailer, you see it with Kong and Godzilla.
Going back to back, and they
Yeah.
start running toward the camera.
Yes. And we both agreed that, yes, it's silly, but at the same time, we love those moments. Was it exactly that while you're watching it?
It's exactly that. It's exactly that. Although there's one hanging chad that I got to talk about that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. So Godzilla in this movie supercharges, for lack of a better word. You'll probably notice in the trailers that his scales are fuchsia, where usually when he uses his atomic breath weapon, they
blue.
They turn blue, like a whitish blue. So they create this whole plot thing, and I feel like it was a gun that they showed and never fired. I mean, yeah, he breathes fire, uses his breath weapon, but it's never like it's not the MacGuffin, it's not the Death Blossom, which we'll get to later. You know, that secret weapon that you need to use at the right moment. So that was a bit of a letdown.
Interesting.
Yeah. Sorry if that's a spoiler.
No, that's okay. That's fine. What about a jaw-dropping moment here in the new Godzilla film?
Mothra was just a delight. I can't remember. Has Mothra been in any of the...
In the King of Monsters.
They used Mothra right here. Like, you don't expect to see Mothra, and then Mothra's there. And it's like, yes. and the little... I forget what the tribe is called, the Inuit or something like that. And the little girl who could talk to Kong becomes the like Mothra fairy, the girl that calls Mothra. So amazing. I love Mothra.
Nice. So the other thing I wanted to bring up is you didn't watch the Apple TV series.
No, Monarch.
Monarch. But could you tell that there was some type of tie-in? Or
So as someone who's completely ignorant of that, I didn't feel like I was missing anything.
Okay. Well, I'm going to be seeing this
Maybe
shortly.
as a fan, Ryan, you'll find extra depth to this, having watched the Monarch series.
Okay.
Was that good? Is that
I
worth
liked
watching?
it. Yeah, I think it's definitely worth it.
Do they show more of the Titans in it?
I mean, there's other Titans in there. Yes. I mean, the idea is that these Titans come out of different spots, and they don't understand. They're trying to understand why these Titans are coming out. It's not necessarily always Godzilla. They really hold that for the end.
Right,
the big
right.
money.
It's like the Marvel shows. These are like the C and D listers.
Right. So it's like the smaller ones. But you do eventually get to Godzilla in the show.
you do?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Have you ever heard of a Titan called Tiamat?
I wouldn't know it by name. No.
Is this a kaiju that you're familiar with, KP? Not just from Dungeons and Dragons, from the Toho movies.
No, I was hoping it would be Jet Jaguar.
No, it was Tiamat. So, and they definitely pronounce it Tiamat, not
Interesting.
Tiamat like in D&D.
Yeah. All right. How about a movie poster quote?
I went with just shut up and eat your popcorn.
One of those kind of movies.
Yeah, just shut up and eat your popcorn. You're going to like this. It's like, if you think about it, it's like Schrodinger's movie, like if the moment you start to measure it, it ceases to exist. Just shut up and watch it. It's fun, but it's stupid.
Gotcha. How many Jaws?
I would give this 2.5 Jaws.
Oh, so you're recommending?
I'm recommending it. Yeah, it's totally not a challenging movie. It's loud, it's fun, it's bombastic, and I think it knows that. That's what saves this movie from being crappy. It knows what it is and it plays to its type. So it worked for me.
Nice. All right.
How was
2.5.
the rock punch?
I don't remember what you're talking about.
With the glove.
Oh.
The glove and the rock, but the one thing I was excited about.
Okay, so the whole, I was worried about that. The whole like armored hand that you see in the trailer, I will say this. They do it in a way that makes sense creatively. It's not just some stupid thing that, I mean, it is a stupid thing that they do, but at least it kind of makes sense how Kong gets this robotic hand.
They give some explanation.
They do.
All right. Well, I'll be seeing this shortly, and I'm looking forward to it after your review, Mickey.
Yeah. Kong also still has his axe, his Godzilla scale axe.
Nice.
Yeah, it's fun. You'll like it, right?
All right. 2.5 Jaws for Matt K. Jawheads, get pumped for Godzilla/Kong.
No -1. It's more of a +1.
So really quick, ranking the Monsterverse. Before we want to do some interest or ignore for the month of April as well. Before we get there, ranking the Monsterverse. I'm gonna go and I have not seen this one that you have, the latest. But if I was saying the worst of them all, probably is actually Godzilla King of Monsters, which came out in 2019. And this is the one that is supposed to be, I thought, maybe the most exciting because it was introducing us, or not necessarily introducing us, but in the new Monsterverse, introducing us to the other titans of the world. And unfortunately, it just didn't have any of the excitement that the other newer films like Godzilla and Kong did that I thought were, much more exciting to hold back from seeing the monsters a little bit and take a little while. This one did not. And that was where I would say is on the bottom of the barrel. Then for me, I would go with Godzilla vs. Kong, which came out in 2001, or 2021, I meant to say. And that one, everybody's excited to see Kong and Godzilla, just didn't live up to the first two of the Monsterverse. It really comes down, for my money, of who you like best, Godzilla or Kong, because I think each of these wonderful titans had great introductions into this new Monsterverse. Really close here, but I would give the edge to Godzilla. That would be my favorite. So then third, I would have Kong Skull Island, which I thought was a very interesting take. But I think the Godzilla film that came out all the way back now in 2014, 10 years ago, that kicked off this Monsterverse, did it right because they hid the monster so long. It had Bryan Cranston in there. It had Elizabeth Olsen, had this large cast, but yet Godzilla was the star, and it took so long to finally see Godzilla. And when we finally got our full look and strength and how big Godzilla was in scale in this one, I just ate it all up. So that was my favorite of the Monsterverse. How do you go?
All right, so there's 6 films, right?
I show 5 now, but go ahead.
If I'm not mistaken, in no particular order, the 6 films are Skull Island, Godzilla, Legacy of Monsters, King of Monsters, Godzilla vs. Kong, and Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire.
Yeah, I don't have Legacy. I don't know where that one is.
Monarch, Legacy of Monsters.
Yeah,
Isn't that the TV show?
that's what I thought.
Is it? That's the TV show?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that's the TV show. So, okay, understood. Then, in that case, I'm going to go ahead and agree with you and say that King of Monsters is probably the weakest, even though that's the Millie Bobby Brown one. And I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it at all. And then I'm going to go Godzilla X Kong New Empire.
That's where it fits.
Yeah. And then I would put, this is the tough one. I would put Godzilla versus Kong, even though I really enjoyed that. It's just not as strong as the next two. And I'm going with Godzilla at number 2. I liked it, but it didn't have enough monsters for me. Like, I think that they struck the balance too far in the other direction, and it was a little too melodramatic. I'm going Kong Skull Island at number 1. Just a lot of fun, man. That's a good movie.
It really is.
Yeah.
John Goodman in there.
Yeah.
It's great.
Very good.
No argument there. Those two, Godzilla and Kong Skull Island, are the only two out of this Monsterverse that I've watched a second time. The other ones, they're fun trips to the movie theater.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't go home and say, yeah, I got to rewatch that one. No, for me, those are one and done. But both Kong Skull Island and Godzilla, I did watch 2 times.
Do you have a favorite Godzilla movie, like overall?
I mean, as of right now, it probably is Godzilla -1.
Yeah, that's a strong pick. I still have to go Godzilla 1984, personally. That's the one that introduced me to Kong, or Godzilla.
Yeah. All right. We are in April.
We just ranked the Monsterverse.
We ranked the Monsterverse.
We're recapping.
The other thing we have to do here is interested or ignore on new movies.
It's a new month.
Yeah,
why
it is
wouldn't
a
we
new
do
month
that?
Because we got big movies coming out. So why don't we kick it off with a Civil War is coming out this month.
Yes, but it is not the one that we are all thinking and that we have come to expect from the cultural zeitgeist. This one is coming out April 12th. It is about a dystopian future America where a team of military-embedded journalists race against time to reach Washington, D.C. This is all before rebel factions descend upon the White House. The film stars Kirsten Dunst, Jesse Plemons, and Nick Offerman. And it is written and directed by Alex Garland, whose last film was 2022's Men. We know Ryan was the one to review that on this show. We're throwing it to you, buddy. Interested or ignore?
This is most definitely an interested. I love Alex Garland, and I went into Men maybe with super high expectations that might not have been able to be met, but he had just given us Ex Machina and Annihilation prior to that. And so I have since rewatched Men, and I enjoy the film quite a bit. It's got that absolutely creepy birth scene at the end that just sticks with you. That wonderful tunnel scene. Jesse Buckley is fantastic in it. So anything that Alex Garland's going to do, I'm going to be excited for. When I first heard of Civil War, I was actually disappointed.
Why?
To a degree, because I don't like movies a lot of times that are throwing fuel on the fire.
Yeah, that might be a fair...
And that worries me sometimes. Like, calm down here, because I'm one of those that actually does worry that we're getting a little too riled up with, the news media
It's
separating
an election
us.
year. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
A ton. And I don't want to see that for this great country that we live in. So that made me a little worried. This premiered now at South by Southwest. There's already some people that have seen it, and they love it. Seems like it's getting very strong reviews, even though some people not on board, but the majority seem to really enjoy it. I'm excited. I'm interested. How about you, Matt?
Maybe it's a cautionary tale, Ryan. I don't know. I have seen the trailer, and it looks amazing. This is a bit of a departure from his previous work. Like, he's done mostly horror, right? What were the...
Or sci-fi.
Sci-fi.
Ex Machina and...
Sci-fi with a definite horror lean.
Yeah, like Annihilation sci-fi with a little horror in there.
Oh, I would say a lot of horror. And then Men, straight up horror. Anyway, bit of a departure. Looks almost more like a throwback to the Arnie stuff. I know it's not going to be that in tone, but it looks that way from the trailer. Nick Offerman as president? Sign me up. Interested.
KP?
I kind of agree with Matt. I agree with both of you. And I guess, so I will start by saying interested. I do think Alex Garland is super interesting of a dude. I think that, like, you leave an Alex Garland movie not knowing what was going on, but remembering every second of what you don't understand, right? The birthing scene, that weird, like, bear mutant scene from Annihilation,
man, that still
whatever the
messes with
last
me.
30 minutes of Annihilation was.
It's awesome.
And I think because this isn't, like Matt said, as sci-fi, like, there's got to be a turn at the end, right? That's what the dude's become known for, is making really weird stuff.
Who knows?
Yeah. 3 interesteds on Civil War. Also, Rebel Moon coming out this month.
Yep. All right, here we go, Ryan. Rebel Moon 2, The Scar Giver, Ryan, on Netflix, April 19th. Here's the plot. A colony on the edge of the galaxy fights for survival against a tyrannical ruling force. This is the follow-up to Zack Snyder's grand sci-fi story that started in December of last year. Sophia Botella, Charlie Hunnam, and Anthony Hopkins star.
I don't think you even bothered, Matt, to see Rebel Moon,
I did not.
the first one.
I did not.
Came out at a very busy time. I think it was a mistake by Netflix to put it out at such a busy time of the year, right at, mid-December when so much was coming out, because it seemed to just sort of come and go when they invested so much money in these two films. I mean, they shot them back to back or, like all in one time, made 2 movies out of it. And I went to a screening, I saw it, and I didn't hate it. A lot of people were poo-pooing on it right away. I had fun with it, very much like you just described the Godzilla movie. It's not something that was going to stick with me for a long time, but it's slow-mo Zack Snyder at his best. Tons of cool-looking action in super slow speeds.
He can do some really visually stunning
Right,
things.
and you're zoned out watching it, and you're like, yeah, it's pretty damn cool,
He's kind of like a bit of a step up from Michael Bay.
So count me as a slight interested for Rebel Moon 2.
I actually thought the trailer looked pretty damn cool. Interested.
I'm gonna ignore. I don't like Zack Snyder historically. I think the Michael Bay thing that Matt said hits a little too hard for me, and
Yeah.
I could not care.
All right. Another one coming out this month is called Challengers, in theaters April 26th. Tashi, a tennis player turned coach, has transformed her husband from a mediocre player into a world-famous Grand Slam champion. Tensions soon run high when he finds himself standing across the net from the once promising, now burnt-out Patrick, his former best friend, and Tashi's former boyfriend. From the director of Call Me By Your Name and Suspiria, the Suspiria remake, this steamy romance sports film stars Zendaya, Josh O'Connor, and Mike Feist. Feist?
Faced.
We'll go with it. Matt, interested or ignore on Challengers?
This is a sports love triangle movie, right? It looks kind of dumb. Ignore.
I'm right with you. I'm also ignoring this. People are very excited for this.
We're not going to ignore it, though. I mean, it's Zendaya. We're going
Right.
to see it.
We are going to see it. That's the point of doing
Right.
interested or
Just
ignore.
want to
though.
remind the jawheads.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll probably review it here on the show, but this is not one when I see the trailer, am I saying like, oh my God.
Can't wait.
Yeah, I'll get the money out and put it off to the side. I got to go see this film. I'm more like, this looks kind of cheesy. Hopefully I'm wrong, but man, the trailer did nothing for me. KP?
Why? I've never been tennis. We make a lot of tennis movies. There was the Will Smith one that was actually pretty good. And well, to be fair, the more I'm going through this in my brain, what was the Battle of the Sexes or War of the Sexes?
Right.
That one was also okay. But why? What is it about tennis that we like so much? Because I don't get it personally.
I wrote a tennis movie.
You did. Tennis Punks.
And I think what my fear with this is that it's going to straddle between being a tennis movie and it is a tennis romance movie, a sports romance.
A tennis
And it's like
love
just pick
triangle.
one thing.
Well,
I think it's gonna
can't
fail
pick
to be
one
a
thing.
love triangle because it's trying to be a tennis movie, and then it's going to fail to be a tennis movie because it's trying to be a love triangle.
Sounds like 3 ignores here.
Yeah.
Oh, I apologize. Did I not state that? Yeah, ignore.
So that's where we're at on Challengers. But again, because it's Zendaya, we'll probably have a review for you.
Yeah.
However,
Steamy, I heard. Steamy.
I mean,
That brings it up a slight notch anyway.
yeah, I mean, we'll get to these movies, and there's more coming out. Right after we get done recording this, there is Monkey Man, the Monkey Man, Dev Patel's directorial debut.
Are we excited about this?
Very excited.
Okay.
I'm gonna be out on vacation. Spoiler, we're gonna be off for a week on spring break, so I'm not gonna catch up with that until I get back. But I'm excited for that. It looks like a John Wick esque kind of movie.
Yeah. All right. I looked okay.
Yeah, and there's some other ones coming out there. We'll have a good month, I think.
We're gonna.
So, all right. I need a breather. Let's take a break.
Let's do it.
Before we talk Last Starfighter, Matt, let's get a
Oh.
glass of water. You know what I mean? Maybe
Excited.
a beer.
Yeah.
And then we're going to talk Last Starfighter. Plus, We got $10 on the line when it comes to Empire movie trivia. Stick with us, Jawheads. Let's all go to the lobby. It is Kirsten Dunst month here on Cinemajaw. And yes, our soundbite is from the original Spider-Man. And my clip here is from Spider-Man 2, but I had to pick this one out before Matt Kay could get to it and highlight it in his clip later on this month. I love Spider-Man 2, one of the great superhero movies of all time. It was absolutely fantastic of an action set piece, gave us a great villain with Doc Ock. And then at the end of the movie, we actually get quite a romantic moment when she picks Tobey Maguire, Peter Parker, after knowing now that Peter Parker is actually Spider-Man. And this is the scene I picked to celebrate Kirsten Dunst when she comes back to Peter Parker at the end of Spider-Man 2.
Had to do what I had to do.
Mary Jane.
Peter. I can't survive without you.
You shouldn't be here.
I know you think we can't be together. But can't you respect me enough to let me make my own decision? I know there'll be risks, but I want to face them with you. It's wrong that we should only be half alive, half of ourselves. I love you. So here I am, standing in your doorway. I've always been standing in your doorway. Isn't it about time somebody saved your life?
Hey, Jawheads, I know at the end of every podcast we ask you to follow us on social media. However, I want to point out that we are doing some fun videos on Instagram, the Reels. So go on to Instagram, make sure you follow Cinemajaw, and you can see part of the show being taped. We're putting clips out each and every week, so follow us at Cinemajaw on Instagram and really everywhere on social media.
And we are back on Cinemajaw. We're talking about Kirsten Dunst. We're talking about King Kong. We're talking about fish tanks. I think we threw a couple things, at least one thing in there. Let's go ahead and open up that fish tank.
Wait a moment! It's fish! Isn't it?
DC! Wake up! No, Pat, it's a giant glass bowl. Hey, get some fish folk.
Who's coming with me besides Flipper? Here.
That's a Sicilian message. It means local brassy sleeps with the fishes.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Thank you so much. It's so good to be out. Thank you. Way less dusty this week, and I could not be happier. I'm often very disappointed in us when I come out of here, and I think it's because I have the listener perspective where I get to stew in everything we've done wrong. But what is wrong with us? We were talking about Tom Cruise sending these cakes, and at no point did we have like a let them eat cake reference.
Oh,
we totally blew over that she was Marie Antoinette.
Watch that one.
We sure did. Great call, KP.
The amount of Toyota Corollas that are in like accidents because of road rage at us right now is through the roof. I can't believe us.
We blew
and I
it.
hope that me bringing it up 40 minutes later is, I don't know, it didn't save your Corolla, but our reputations,
KP,
I guess.
KP, you're amazing.
You are amazing.
Thank you. Jawheads, feedback at cinemajaw.com. We'll get you the address to the Cinemajaw studio so you can send us cake. We'll accept nothing other than coconut and white chocolate chip. Yeah.
Yes, I was about to say. Must be. Coconut and white chocolate chip. Forever.
We did only have one question in here, and it was about Interview with the Vampire from when we were talking about all of this. And it was Kirsten Dunst nominated for an Oscar for that film, and how old was she? A two-parter. So she was not nominated for an Oscar.
This is a total Mandela effect for me. Because I swear to God, she even won.
I knew
that
was
definitely
not the
didn't
case.
happen.
Well, it did in my universe.
Her only Academy recognition was for Power of the Dog, which she also did not win. That was just a nomination. She was up for a Golden Globe in 1995 for Interview, but she also did not win that. So maybe she just won your heart and you confused that for an Oscar. I don't know.
Could be.
And 10 years old.
10
at the time of filming that.
I totally guessed it.
You totally did.
Yep.
I agree with you. Wow.
While I was digging through this, so she was the first actress to have been seen for those auditions. And initially, the filmmakers had thought, like, 10, we're really looking for a 6-year-old that's more in alignment with the novel. But what they had discovered is that by having Kirsten be a little bit older, she was able to convey and bring some of the weight that you guys were talking about to the film. And after having all of these other child actresses come forward, Kirsten still stuck out. So 10 was the magic number for that. Ironically, Julia Stiles auditioned and did not get it because she was too old. And fun fact, Julia Stiles is literally a year older than Kirsten Dunst. So
Yeah,
11 is the cutoff.
It makes a difference when you're that young, though. I mean, it's like a world of difference. Can you imagine if she hadn't gotten that role? We wouldn't have gotten that kiss between Peter Parker and Mary Jane. We wouldn't have gotten Power of the Dog. We wouldn't have gotten all the great stuff she's done since then.
Who the hell would Jesse Plemons be married to?
Right? Are they really married?
They are.
Wow, no shit. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Had no clue. Interesting stuff.
While we're still in the fish tank, I mentioned it as we're doing Interested or Ignore. Next week on the show, we're off. Our first break of 2024, man.
We don't do them often.
No. We took one around the holidays and we went strong. But now we got spring break. You and the family are traveling to
Kalamazoo. Yeah.
Michigan.
Right.
Yes. And
Good times.
I am going on a cruise down in the Caribbean with my brother and cousins and family cruise. So just couldn't get another John. We had to take a break.
Hey, it's good to take breaks. You
It
got to recharge the batteries, Ryan.
I'm sure there's a lot of jawheads out there also taking a spring break. So stay safe out there. We'll be back the week after. We'll probably be reviewing either Civil War or Monkey Man, but we'll have to do that after vacation. Figure all that good stuff out.
What you should do if you're traveling and you need a Cinemajaw fix is go back to our expansive back catalog. We've been doing the show for nearly 15 years. There's got to be an episode you haven't heard. Listen to one of those.
Great call, Matt.
Yeah.
That's great. All right. That is everything in the fish tank. Jump back in there, KP.
You bet.
Greetings, Starfighter. You have been recruited by the Star League to defend the frontier against Xur and the Kodan Armada. The year was 1984. The movie, The Last Starfighter. Matt and I both saw this as kids back in the day when you fired up the old VHS for a movie night. I must have seen it in the late 80s several times, but then, poof, it was gone. I don't think I have seen The Last Starfighter in 30 plus years. How does it hold up? Does it even deserve a reboot or a sequel, perhaps? Matt K and I dropped a quarter in the old video game to find out.
Come on, Alex, they're here!
Alex Rogan had a dream.
You really are leaving here, aren't you?
To be as far away from here as possible.
You get your chance. When it comes, you gotta grab it with both hands.
It started with a game.
The plot of The Last Starfighter is ultra simple. A teenager by the name of Alex, who is hoping to get out of his trailer park existence by going away to college, plays a video game all the time, Starfighter. One night, he breaks the record for high score in what clearly was the highlight of everyone's life that lived in the Starlight Starbright trailer park.
Oh boy, was it.
These people literally lost their minds watching him play this game. Hilarious scene. We got to discuss that in more detail. Turns out The video game is a recruiting tool to find starfighter pilots. He is whisked away by an alien called Centauri and is asked to help fight the Armada. His reluctance saves his life, but it also makes him the last starfighter around. Now he must take on the Armada himself. Damn, was I happy to revisit this film. I had a smile on my face the entire time. As I mentioned, the plot is basic. The effects are 1984 grade, but the picture knows how to have fun, and that really comes from the supporting characters. Centauri is terrific. He's played by Robert Preston in his last role, and he's fantastic. And the other main...
Were there a lot of other roles?
Yeah, the other main alien is Grigg, who laughs like Herman Munster.
Pretty good.
Not bad.
Yeah.
That's always funny when you get somebody laughing like that. But even the small characters like Otis at the trailer park are great. And so is Alex's brother, Lewis.
He is great.
Fantastic little kid. Before we break it down more, Matt, how was your trip down memory lane?
I was surprised. Okay, so same situation as you. Probably haven't seen the movie in about 30 years. But I had watched it so many times. I think I must have owned it. That I used to be able to quote it, and rewatching it, I remembered the cues, and I was like, "Oh yeah, quote it, quote it, quote it." I remembered it. It was weird, man. It was. I don't know how I remembered everything, but I did. Like, you're having a nightmare, Lewis. Go back to sleep. You know, like all that stuff.
Love that scene.
Yeah, and like the where the hell is June when he's flipping through his Playboys. Lewis is awesome.
Lewis is fantastic.
Can we just talk about how awesome Lewis is?
Yeah, he's one of the better little brothers in 80s movies.
Yeah, maybe the best little brother in 80s movies. Like, really, where did he go from there? You know, maybe John Cusack's little brother in Better Off Dead.
Oh, that's a good call.
Yeah, but seriously, those two...
I want my $2.
Those two are good contenders. All right. I just really enjoyed this. The 80s graphics, very Tron-like, but for their time, those must have been like top of the line. Mm-hmm. Like, was this a high-budget movie?
I mean,
it does not feel like a high budget movie.
We'll look up the budget. I don't think it's extremely large, but you're right. The graphics, because Tron used those computer generated graphics, CGI,
right,
for really the first time. And then Last Starfighter really opened it up. I mean, it was actually action scenes done, and
it looks pretty good.
And in 1984, you're like, "Whoa, what the heck is this?" It's pretty awesome.
Right. I don't remember. So that's the one thing I didn't remember is seeing the graphics and being like, "Oh, this kind of looks like a PS1 cutscene." You know, a very good PS1 cutscene. Like, I didn't think in the beginning it was like I'm watching an animated sequence, but as the movie progressed, I was able to suspend disbelief, and I'm like, I'm watching spaceships flying around in space. There's a few like really, rough explosions and things like that, but it's largely forgivable, man. It's just a fun movie. Like, if you think too much about it, it collapses in on itself.
Oh, sure.
But we didn't mention Alex's girlfriend, Maggie, who's a central character. Even her, like, she has a story arc, and Beta, the android that's left in Alex's place, has a story arc.
He does. Well, I wouldn't put her story arc that much. I mean, it's basically the same, is that she's going to eventually go away to college with Alex.
No, she's afraid to leave the trailer park, and she keeps saying because she has to stay and take care of her grandma.
Granny.
But she's just afraid to leave, you know? So she has an arc where she faces down her fear, and she goes up into space at the end. I mean, listen,
somewhat of a. Yeah, I was about to say that's a stretch of a story.
It's not a stretch. She overcomes.
It's very light. In fact,
she starts off the movie in one mode and she ends it in a different mode.
My complaint, and I have, it's a minor complaint, is because I enjoyed watching this again so much, is that the film doesn't have enough subplots going on. The only subplot.
What are you talking about?
The only subplot in the movie is the Beta character. When, yes, there's story arcs like you're pointing out, but I'm talking about, you got the main plot line going on of Alex going into space and being the last starfighter. There's usually other things, especially nowadays with movies.
Right.
There's
this
multiple
is a simpler
storylines.
time, Ryan.
Oh, I agree. But I couldn't believe how simple. I mean,
Very simple.
Oh, very simple. It's like, this is the one storyline. It's this kid played a video game. He's now the starfighter, and he's going to go
Save the world.
And that's
Save the
literally
galaxy.
the entire movie.
What else do you need?
But the only plot line, which was very interesting, is this character of Beta, which is an android that the alien who comes down to pick up Alex has in his car, which is the souped up car, which is pretty goofy.
Very, very DeLorean-esque.
Right. But it was before the DeLorean. That was 1984.
Good point.
That was 88. So it predates the DeLorean, but you're right, very similar to that. However, he has this android that we don't see a good look at in the car. And when Alex touches his hand, it basically gets his DNA. And this Beta is going to turn into Alex so that the people in the trailer park and in Alex's lives don't realize that he's missing while he's up in space fighting the Armada.
Right.
However, that attracts these like assassins, these
Zandazans.
aliens, these aliens to come down to the trailer park, really putting everybody in danger at this point, because they're trying to kill the last starfighter, but it's actually an android. They don't know. That's the only other plot line that goes on, and it's barely developed. I remember it as a kid.
I disagree.
No, as a kid, I remember being completely, enthralled by the whole thing, and like, oh my God, this Beta. And it's like one scene of Beta turning into Alex. It's a creepy scene. And then there's like, he's in like 3 scenes and he sacrifices himself so quickly. I thought, wow, that really left an impression on me because I remember that storyline
There you go.
so well, but it's a very simple storyline.
I agree. I remember liking Beta a lot.
He's only in about 3 scenes.
I was so sad when Beta died.
Me too. That's why I'm laughing here, because when I was watching it here, I was like, wow, he sacrificed himself after about 10 minutes of screen time. And I remember as a kid being like moved, like, oh, what a moment when he says, what does he say right there at the end? He's like, take care of yourself, Alex, or he says something along those lines, and he drives that truck in. And I remember being like, wow, what a moment. I mean, that android killed himself. He's barely in the movie, but
he takes his head off at one point.
That's pretty cool.
To fix an ear problem or something.
And the effects here is great because then they cut to the actual actor of Alex, clearly with his head through the table.
Right. Come on. It's an easy special effect.
But it works.
It totally works.
It works fantastically is what I'm saying. It's like old 80s movie magic that I really appreciated.
So you said something interesting to me the other day. I think we were talking about The Crow. Now, when you watch a movie that you have this nostalgic attachment to, is it possible as a film critic, is it possible to, like a childhood favorite, can you extract that part of yourself and look on it with honest eyes? Or is that just impossible?
It really is difficult to do. When you're so attached like this, what you're saying, we definitely own this on VHS.
That's weird that we both were favorites of this.
Because this isn't obviously one of the most popular.
No, it's no Star Wars, it's no Ghostbusters.
It became a cult classic to a degree. But
small cult classic.
Right, a small cult classic, but is not mainstream. And I had to have watched this, 15, 20, 30 times. I don't know. I knew the movie very well.
Same.
And I watched it this time and I thought to myself, if people hadn't seen the movie, they would think there's a couple of extremely cheesy parts, and I don't think they would be on board. It to me, rewatching this and having this from my childhood was really the joy of the movie, more so than just the movie strength on its own, I guess.
Did you notice anything new with adult eyes? I did.
Did you?
I did. One thing.
Go ahead.
Well, I asked you first.
Well, I was going...
Do you want me to go so you can have time to think about it?
Yeah.
Okay. So I noticed the mother, whose character is so much of a throwaway. And as a child, I never paid attention to her, that she's a single parent. And there's a scene where Alex shows Greg a photo of his family, and there's a dad in the photo. What happened to the dad? There's a scene where the mom walks in on Alex making out with Maggie, you know, before it's the real Alex. And there's a look on her face, never registered with me as a kid. This time I saw it and I'm like, that's sexual frustration. Like she's like, ah, man, that part of my life is kind of over. There's a sadness to the mom character that it never even dawned on me as a kid.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is a subtle detail, but it's there.
I noticed that the people of the trailer park, including Alex's mom, really don't care that much about Alex because they let him go to space with an alien rather quickly in this movie. I mean, they're just like,
they care about him.
See you later, guy.
No, he's their hero. Are you kidding me?
It's a very corny ending. I mean,
I love the ending. Didn't find it corny at all.
So the two parts that I want to talk about is when he breaks the record.
Let's talk about it.
So I didn't remember this being like corny and where I was laughing at it as a kid. I thought it was really cool because, as I described, he plays this video game and only Otis is out there. Otis is sitting in a chair next to the video game and he's playing this video game and Maggie comes out and is talking to him, really distracting him when he's playing a video game that's similar to Asteroids, you know.
Ish.
You got to be looking at the screen the whole time, and his girlfriend's talking to him.
Star Wars TIE Fighter,
and eventually, all of a sudden, he hits a number, and the machine says like 900,000 points, and Otis gets excited. He stands up. He's like,
first Maggie notices.
Yeah, you're gonna break the record, and then Otis gets excited. I don't know where these people come from, but the entire trailer park of people go around the video game. So when I was watching it this time, Matt, I was laughing out loud to the point I had tears in my eyes. I was like, who came up with this idea that everybody would gather around the video game and he would blow up the starship? It was fantastic. I loved it.
Okay. First of all, I don't think it's cheesy at all.
Oh, it's
and not only
cheesy,
is it not
dude.
cheesy, that would probably happen, and I will explain to you exactly why.
Because nobody here owns TVs. They have nothing to do but watch some kid play a video game.
Okay, first of all, this kid is their hero. He's the one that fixes anything that goes wrong in their lives. The power's out, get Alex. My TV is out, get Alex. The HVAC isn't working, get Alex. He is God in this trailer park, okay? Second, there isn't much going on in their lives. There really isn't. Their soap operas are the highlights of their day. So for him, there's one video game in this place. It's so easy to forget what things were like in 1984 when you have a cell phone in your pocket. You have access to every game that ever was created at your fingertips. It's right in your pocket. In 84, the home consoles were garbage. An arcade game, especially a high quality one like Starfighter, was a rare thing. And for that to be in that trailer park, that was their little joy machine, their little escape. And he was the best player on this machine. He's breaking the record. I want to see this. And I'll tell you why else it's plausible. You forget, we got a Donkey Kong kill screen coming up.
Oh, I remember that.
We got a Donkey, and now people are still into this kind of thing. I mean, so yeah, that's totally plausible.
I 100% thought of the Donkey Kong kill screen.
Yeah.
I mean, hands down, because it really, they're like, Otis starts yelling like, Alex is going to break the record. He's getting everybody riled up. It was unbelievable.
Okay,
it was like the end of Rocky.
Let's talk about Lance Guest a little bit. I have no idea what this guy has gone on to do at all. Do you?
I looked it up from Starfighter. Both him and the actress who plays Maggie ended up having a pretty good career as far as they're in other, couple of other movies in the 80s and then a lot of TV roles, so on and so forth.
Weekend at Bernie's,
but neither broke out and were huge stars by any means.
Right. There are no famous people in this movie.
No. You know who is in this is Will Wheaton.
What?
So
wow, Will Wheaton's star keeps on going up in my book. He's in so many amazing things.
Whenever you watch an old movie like this, I sat through the credits and I was like, let's see if there's anybody that pops up, that would be a name. Will Wheaton popped up. I'm like, oh my God. I went right to the internet. I didn't see Will Wheaton.
Who does he play?
So I looked it up. Well, so it ends up that Will Wheaton was supposed to be one of Lewis's friends, the younger brother's friend.
Oh, Lewis's intro is great, by the way, where he's wearing the space helmet and shooting everybody with the dart gun.
Yeah, love it. So he was supposed to be Lewis's friend. I guess he did have a speaking role.
He's on the cutting room floor?
Got cut, but he's in both the crowd scenes when he breaks the record and when he says goodbye to Alex. He's just Lewis's friend. I didn't recognize him And
no shit.
But Will Wheaton is in The Last Starfighter.
Did I tell you that I found out Will Wheaton was in The Secret of Nim?
Wow.
Yeah.
His star keeps rising, like you said.
He plays Little Timothy, the voice of Little Timothy in Secret of Nim.
So the other big scene, obviously, as I'm alluding to, is the starship comes down at the end. Mind you, this is rooted in a world where people don't even know that aliens exist. And here, an alien ship, a starfighter, comes down and lands in the trailer park. And they announce to Alex's mom and everybody else that they're going to take Alex away. And everybody's just like, best of luck, Alex. This is great.
That's not how it happens. No. He just saved the universe. You should be so proud of him. He's in a military uniform.
And so Maggie's got to decide if she's going to go. She isn't going to go. And then she has her moment that she is. And Maggie's grandma's just like, go for it. And they sail away. And again, this was a moment that I think most people that didn't grow up with The Last Starfighter would just be like, this is the cheesiest movie I've ever seen in my life.
I wonder. I really wonder. I got to show this to Heather and see what she says.
So those were my two parts that I enjoyed the most. I did write down a jaw-dropping moment.
Okay, go.
But I didn't go jaw-dropping moment. This is something else I want to talk about because it's a character we haven't really discussed. I went jaw-dropping prop because there is a prop in this movie that I remembered as a kid watching this, and it's the scepter.
What a weird thing.
And it serves no purpose really in the movie.
Well, he does attack one person with it.
One person, but it doesn't have like magical powers. He actually like hits the person with the scepter itself.
Yeah. He doesn't even stab him because it's got like a sword that juts out of it. It's like, hey, the prop department made this. Can you use it?
Again, when you're if people hadn't seen the movie, they would think that's just stupid and corny. I remembered it as a kid, like, yeah, the bad guy's got to have a scepter. It's almost like right out of like He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. Like the villain's got to have some type of, staff. They make this big deal about getting the scepter, and it doesn't even come up anywhere. Like the intro of the scepter is like a thing, and then it's just nothing. He just holds on to the scepter for the rest of the movie.
Well, he does get that really cool moment where he's like, "Find the last Starfighter," and then he goes, "Cha-ching!"
Yeah, with the scepter.
Yeah,
and the hairstyle of Zur, who's the bad guy.
Well, all the Rylons have that.
All the Rylons have this, where they go with the bald, heaping forehead, and they got the hair going around their the skull.
It grows right into their mutton chops.
Love it.
Me too.
And it's just a weird looking bad guy.
Okay. All right. Here's a question for you. 12-year-old Rye or 10-year-old Rye, however old you were when you watched this movie, when he first gets to Rylon, he meets a female Rylon with that same haircut. Is that haircut okay? Does that do it for you? She's a very pretty girl, but she's got a Rylon haircut.
Walk right by her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I like the other aliens that he meets, the other starfighters. I remember as a kid liking that aspect of it all. And I remember them, I thought, again, playing a bigger role. They're more or less introduced and killed moments later. Very strange, but I like the aliens that we do meet.
It's weird. Our perspective of time has shifted so vastly, right?
Yeah.
Strange. Because I also remember this being like this epic freaking movie.
Right. I remember being like, wow, he meets all these aliens. I don't know if the aliens are in the movie more than 3 or 4 minutes.
If that.
I know. And then they're just blown up and dead. I'm like, wow, that's all they were in the movie for?
I also remember the relationship between Grig and Alex being this like long and developed thing, and they spent like months in the Starfighter ship.
Me
Like,
too. Because I thought, like, yeah, they became like best friends. Like, it was like a moment.
He was
between
gone
this.
for like 48 hours. That's it.
It's
like
crazy.
like a day, basically.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Very strange.
All right, jaw-dropping moment for me. Still the android face. There's this scene where Alex turns over and it's Beta, but we don't know it. He takes the covers off. It's a pretty scary moment if you're not prepared for it. Used to close my eyes.
I like it. It was good. For a movie poster quote, I went with, "The Last Starfighter should not be the last in your queue. It's worth a retro play."
I agree. All right, my quote was, "Put another quarter century into this timeless family sci-fi classic."
Yeah, I hope if you haven't seen this review maybe spurs somebody to watch The Last Starfighter.
Although we kind of spoiled it, but it's still worth watching.
It really is. I'm being honest here. I'm not going to go straight up 4 Jaws. After watching it, in my heart, 4 Jaws. You're asking for the critic view. I'd say it's a 3-jaw movie. It is still a lot of fun. Even as cheesy as I'm making it sound, it's a lot of fun.
Okay. Yeah, that's That's the honest answer for me as well. If 3 Jaws for the honest, but this is a 4-Jaw movie because of how much fun and how close I am to it.
I ended up purchasing it instead of renting it.
Really? I should have done that.
I found a deal that was basically the same price to own the digital
on what
in
service?
the cloud. It's in that Vudu. Now it's called Fandango at Home.
Oh, that sucks though, because you can't download those, right?
I don't know, but it's in the cloud. So now, but I told my brother, I was like, hey, one time after you're over after a soccer match, I'll throw this damn thing on. It's breezy. It's like 90 minutes. Again, I thought this was like an epic film. It's 90 minutes and you're
in and out,
and you're done.
So fast.
The Last Starfighter, not streaming on any of the services, but you can rent it anywhere you can find movies.
Yeah, I rented it on YouTube. Worked for me.
Yeah. That was fun.
Yeah, that was a lot. We got to do this more.
I know. The Last Starfighter.
How many movies like The Last Starfighter can we possibly find where we both have a connection to it, though?
Right.
It's going to be tough.
That's a hidden one, you know.
I'm glad we got to it.
I am too. That was great. All right. We got $10 right here. We are playing Empire Movie Trivia. Get your thinking cap on here, Matt. I really want you to have a chance at winning. Are you ready?
I am.
Empire Movie Trivia. Matt needs 3 or more not to be stumped. Number 1. Michael J. Fox voiced Milo James Thatch in this Disney animated science fiction adventure.
And it has to have Empire in the title?
Mm-hmm.
Disney animated adventure.
Animated.
Milo Thatch.
Milo James Thatch.
KP is going crazy. Wow.
I wasn't sure if you would have seen this or not. I'm unaware because I myself have not seen this movie. KP, have you seen this movie?
It's not good.
But you've seen it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know this
I
one.
don't know if that helps you. No.
No.
We're looking for Atlantis, the Lost Empire.
No.
Mike
never
Mignola
even heard
did
of
the artwork for it, Matt.
Oh,
the
really?
artwork is like awesome. The art of book of it is so much better than the actual film.
Ryan, that's who invented, I almost said Playboy, Hellboy. Yeah.
Hellboy.
Yeah.
Matt is 0 for 1. Question 2. 7 years after the movie 300, we got a sequel. What was the full title of the sequel to 300?
$301. The Persian Empire. Am I close?
We're looking for 300, Rise of an Empire.
Okay.
0 for 2. You need all
Why
3
wouldn't
of
they
these.
go 301? I mean, seriously, come on. Worked for the Dalmatians.
I think you can still win this because I think the next 3 are actually right in your wheelhouse.
Okay.
Question 3 is over to you. In 1995, Liv Tyler starred in this comedy about a record store and its employees.
Empire Records.
Empire Records. You're on the board, Matt. Whew. Matt's got 1 out of 3. 2 left, $10 on the line. Question 4. In 1987, a young Christian Bale starred in this war drama directed by Steven Spielberg.
Empire of the Sun.
Wow. Wow. I told you he's coming back with vengeance. It comes down to this. The tension is high. Last question. He needs it. Either I'm richer or Matt is richer. Here we go. In 2006, David Lynch directed Inland Empire, which starred one of his favorite actresses to work with. Name it.
What year?
2006.
Really?
Inland Empire.
Well, I'll say Laura Dern.
That is correct.
Wow.
Matt is a winner.
Wow.
Holy crap. Wow.
Pulled that out.
Yeah.
I mean, because she's the only one I can think of who's definitely in 2 David Lynch movies that I know.
Yep.
Blue Velvet and...
yeah. And Wild at Heart.
Yeah, and Wild at Heart.
And Inland Empire.
Yeah,
So
there you go.
there's 3. Yep. Matt, you are a winner. Congratulations. Go ahead. Take the
Imaginary money.
imaginary
It
money.
better turn into real money.
It will be real money.
So
That's
wait, so that
exciting.
means you owe me $5.
I owe you $5.
Wow,
now
what a
somehow.
turn of events.
I know. This
How about
is
that?
unbelievable. You're not going to believe it. I don't have it on me, Matt, but
I
will
believe
give
it.
to you. Brings us to the end of a great jaw. First and foremost, we got to thank our producer, our editor, KP.
Thank you so much. Really looking forward to getting everybody sick on spring break and coming back feeling better than ever, though.
Definitely.
Get well. Yeah.
Get well, KP. Also want to thank the Patreons for supporting the show. If you want to join us over there, go to Patreon/Cinemajaw. We are going to have a new movie roundup in about a week or two.
Well, and I'll tease one thing. Me and KP are working on something for patrons.
Nice.
Yeah. That's all I'm going to say.
KP's got to get well before you can have that meeting
that's
and get
why-
everything hammered down.
Yep. We got to make sure KP's healthy first.
Yes. But we will have another movie roundup coming up. So support us there. Join the family of Patreons. Also, leave us a review wherever you're listening to this podcast.
Please do.
Until next week, I'm Ryan the Movie Guy.
I'm Matt K.
And keep on jawing about the movies.